Welcome to the Celtic A to Z, a selection of memories from bygone days from the distant and not so distant past. We'll be reliving some of the occasions which are part of Celtic folklore with rare, previously unseen archive footage. We'll remember some of the great players who've pulled on the Celtic jersey down through the years, and we celebrate the games and the goals which have made Celtic such a unique and colourful club. We kick off with an ABC of European football and some of the clubs that Celtic have encountered. A is for Ajax of Amsterdam, who Celtic first came up against in 1971 in the quarter-final of the European Cup, and in the team a famous number 14.
Tremendous kick downfield by Stuyve. The first time pass through to Cruyff. What a goal! Goal for Ajax, Cruyff the scorer.
Despite a return victory by a solitary Jimmy Johnston goal at Hampden, it wasn't enough to overcome a 3-goal deficit. The footballing genius of Cruyff and Ajax were heading for Europe's Hall of Fame. When next Cruyff and the Dutch masters visited in '82, Celtic were fortunate to hold out for a 2-2 draw at Parkhead. The return leg saw a hard-fought victory for Celtic, with a moment of magic from the man they called Charles de Gaulle. Charlie Nicholas in his last season before heading south, scoring a magnificent winner. Celtic, in only their second season in European competition, welcomed Hungary's MTK Budapest to Parkhead after an incredible run which took them to the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup.
Johnston running in, and it's a goal! Johnston scores. Kennedy made the chance. Johnston passed the ball over the line as the keeper sold it. Chalmers in the clear for Celtic. Tries a speculative shot, and it's a goal! Inside right Mundak lines up for another one. Hooks it across. In comes Chalmers. Is it number 3? Here's the post. It's a goal! Chalmers scores a sensational goal.
Despite looking set for their first European final, a combination of tactical naivety and inexperience saw them lose 4 goals in Budapest. However, a valuable lesson had been learned. More recently, in 1992, Celtic faced IFC Cologne in the first round of the UEFA Cup, with the daunting task of overcoming a 2-goal deficit from the first leg. Celtic, inspired by McStay and Collins, staged a spirited fight back.
Tries it on this time! It's a magnificent finish from Paul McStay, and Celtic are right back in the tie. Good running up front by Payton. Kept in well by Boyd. Payton has to stay off the field. With John Collins. Deflection! It's a goal for Celtic! Jerry Queenie has scored a second! Good play by Collins! He's done it! It's a superb finish from John Collins! And the Celtic fans are delirious!
Coming up in this Celtic A to Z, the season which saw Celtic's finest European triumph and most crushing disappointment. But now for the first of our profiles of great Celtic players, a goal-scoring sensation from the early 70s. John Deans, known to all as Dixie, was signed by Jock Stein from Motherwell in October 1971. He shook off his bad boy tag to become a popular and prolific scorer. But Dixie's worst moment in football came in the semi-final of the European Cup at Celtic Park in front of 75,000 supporters. That penalty miss meant Inter Milan went on to face the mighty Ajax in the final of the European Cup. However, Dixie was soon forgiven by the Celtic faithful. Only 17 days later, he scored an outstanding hat-trick in the Scottish Cup final against Hibs, only the third time such a feat had been accomplished in the history of the competition.
Callahan putting it into Deans. Deans a back header. Dalglish going up. First time shot is a goal! Dixie Deans scores a deflection from Tom Forsyth. 1 each.
Throughout his time at Celtic, he enjoyed a unique rapport with supporters who appreciated his wholehearted and dynamic style.
Taken by Lennox, McNeil at the near post. Here returning it. Chance for Deans. What a goal! What a goal by Dixie Deans!
Deans was that most elusive find, a natural goal scorer. In 13 full matches against Hibs, he notched up an incredible 18 goals, including yet another cup final hat-trick in '74. He also scored in the Scottish Cup final of that year.
Here's Dixie Deans. It must be. It's there.
In his time with the club, he'd given his all, including his 2 front teeth. He scored 124 goals for Celtic and is fondly remembered by supporters.
Deans. Oh, it's so easy.
Back to the Big E and Europe, and what was arguably Celtic's finest 180 minutes in European competition. E is also for Elland Road, where the first leg of a memorable Battle of Britain took place, with Celtic facing an outstanding Leeds United side, who started the tie as strong favourites. Even a last-minute change, with Celtic turning out in orange socks, supplied by Leeds, failed to dampen Celtic's resolve.
Leeds will want to do so much good and positive work in this first leg. The second leg will be a very formidable one up at Hampden Park on April the 15th. Gemmell with the throw. Bertie Auld, a long one for Wallace to chase, and Madeley is shuddering, and Madeley almost losing out on it. Reaney there, giving him support, and a shot across the goal, and a goal to Celtic in the very first minute. In the very first minute, a goal for Celtic.
Leeds at that time, they were all full of internationalists. So were we, but we'd been through the European scene. So when we went down to Elland Road, there was no way that we were intimidated or anything like that. And in fact, I think the press reports actually gave us a boost. But anyway, the boss, when we prepared for the game and all that, and the boss told us, he says, "There's one man that's going to win the game for you." And he just stuck the number 7 up on the board, and he says, "Jimmy Johnson." He says, "This boy Terry Cooper," he says, "Wee man, just leave him alone with Terry Cooper, and he'll destroy him, and we'll get something out of that game." I think the boss, his masterstroke was actually helped Bertie and I in the middle of the park, because he brought George Connolly into the middle of the park, and he played him in front of the back four, and that meant that it was in the first leg it was Jimmy, Willie Wallace and Bobby Lennox up front. You know, and we destroyed them. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on us, but we scored right away, and that was it. That was him at Elland Road out of the game.
The fact that you're hot favourites at the moment for the final, does that bother you at all?
Well, not really. We're hot favourites here, but in Holland, I suppose it'll be a different thing altogether.
You've seen Feyenoord. How good are they in your estimation?
Well, no team gets to the final of any competition unless they're capable, and the fact that they beat AC Milan in an earlier round would justify them being treated as a good side. I don't think they'll be a difficult team to hold, but they might be a difficult team to beat, and we don't go out to hold any team at any time. We always try and go out to beat our opponents.
I take it you are then fully confident that you're going to win?
I'm never fully confident I win. I always look at it, if our players play as they're capable of playing, they'll win against any side.
Steen's men went into the final as firm favourites against the Dutch side. 30 minutes into the game, Celtic were awarded a free kick just outside the box.
Goal! He's giving it. Here's the replay from behind the goal. The flick back. Watch the Gemmell coming in, right foot. It's Lisbon all over again. A beautifully taken goal. Celtic lining up here, a solid wall. Ball chipped across goal. McNeil heads it out, still not cleared. It's dangerous. Heading back in, great chance. Celtic standing, looking at it. It's a goal.
With the score level at full time, the match went into extra time, with Feyenoord already gaining the upper hand by playing to their own strengths and exploiting perceived weaknesses in the Celtic side.
Handsman McNeil, but the ball's in the net. The referee's giving a goal.
The defeat was devastating for Celtic, who were criticised for underestimating the Dutch side. There's more European action later, but now a look at some of the stars of the 70s. G is for goals, and in particular some of the goals of one Kenneth Matheson Dalglish. As Jock Stein once said of Dalglish, with a player like Kenny you don't talk positions, you just give him a jersey.
Back towards Dalglish.
I knew that I would not. I feel good. I knew that I would not. So good, so good. I got you. Oh, I feel nice. A sugar and spice. I feel nice. A sugar and spice. So nice, so nice. I got you.
Challenge for Celtic. Douglas scores.
I was playing for an amateur team in Glasgow called Glasgow United, and we went up to play against the young lads who Celtic had training like a couple of nights a week or were on the ground staff. Everyone was under 16, and we beat them. I think it was 3-2, and I'd scored one. And Jockstein and Sean Fallon were at the game, and they asked the lad that ran our team if I'd like to go and train with Celtic a couple of nights a week. I said, yeah, of course.
It was the 4th of May, my wedding anniversary, and as I said to Myra and the girls, 3 girls, we go to see Mill for the day, see Mill Hydro. And we're on our way, and we went down by Ibrox. And Kenny lived in the flats overlooking Ibrox, near the White City. So I told Myra, I'll go up and see Mr. Dalglish and Kenny and have another chat with them. And I won't be too long. So I went up to the house, and very well received. But I felt there was some atmosphere there. The atmosphere was hard to describe. It just wasn't right. I had a feeling there was something wrong. I only discovered later on, Kenny told me that they're having a row in the house. The father himself, father says, you need to make up your mind, you know what you're going to do. Because the father was a shop fitter, and he wanted Kenny to follow that line, and Kenny wanted to play football.
It's Douglas, in fact, and it's a goal!
And I feel nice. A sugar and spice. I feel nice. A sugar and spice.
Douglas!
So nice, so nice. I got you.
The mid to late 70s saw a crop of new faces at the club. Here are just some of the fans' goal-scoring heroes.
When I hold you in my arms, I know that I can't do no wrong. And when I hold you, love can't do me no harm. And I feel nice, a sugar and spice. I feel nice, a sugar and spice. So nice, so nice, I got you. Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would not. I feel good. I knew that I would. So good, so good, I got you. So good, so good.
Looking for the shot, he gets it, it's a beautiful. Oh, fine Craig.
So good, so good, I got you.
Putting it back deadly. Oh, yes!
We stay with goals for the moment, some more European action, and a goal scored against Austrian champions Innsbruck in 1977. Burns, a promising young star who in the previous season had collected his first championship medal. The previous leg in the same competition saw Celtic face Luxembourg side Jeunesse Desch, and en route to an 11-1 aggregate victory, a goal from a namesake of a current Celtic player.
Brian McLaughlin goes back into the Celtic team, and the 57th minute makes it 5-0.
K is for Kevin Keegan, and a very special occasion when he brought his Newcastle side north to celebrate Celtic's return to paradise and the opening of the new North Stand. On a gloriously sunny day, supporters greeted the star-studded Geordie side as they arrived for the pre-season friendly. Among the squad was self-confessed Celtic fan Peter Beardsley, the new £6 million scoring sensation Les Ferdinand, and one-time Celtic transfer target the highly skilled David Ginola. For supporters, the relief of coming home after a year's tenancy at Hampden was cause for celebration.
I think for everybody that was there that day, I think it will remain long in the memory. I think that was a real special Celtic day, if you like.
Lifelong Celtic fan Rod Stewart officially opened the new stand to a tumultuous response as Celtic Park was engulfed by a breathtaking sea of colour and noise.
It's a very special day for Celtic Football Club, all the fans back home again with this marvellous stadium, but I can remember coming here for Billy McNeil's testimonial. I mean, it's on the same place, but everything else has changed. I think those houses were there, you couldn't see them, and it was full that night. And I remember a young man called Kenny Dalglish scoring a goal, and I think we drew, and I can remember when Celtic were just invincible in Europe, as can most people my age. And it's those days that these fans want back. It's going to be a tough job for Tommy Burns and for the board of directors and the players here. But when the standards have been set that high, it's your job to try and match them. And we're trying to do that in Newcastle. I know how hard it is, but nevertheless, if you believe and work hard, anything's possible in football. If you've got that base of support at any football club, you've got a real chance of winning things. And I admire the smaller clubs, but once Celtic turns itself round, as it's starting to do now, you know, the support's guaranteed. You can't say that in many places. We're lucky, we're another club we're the one club in England that can seriously challenge Manchester United, and that takes a bit of saying, because that is an institution. Every game we go into, we're looking to let more and more people know about Newcastle United and our style of play. We challenge Celtic to play as a football. They'll play as a football because that's the sort of thing that Tommy Burns and the players believe in. And may the best team win.
For Celtic supporters, there was also a first glimpse of the now familiar pre-match huddle, which has become a feature of the build-up to kick-off. One of the theories put forward on the day was that the Celts were attempting to psych out the opposition by pretending to be talking about them. However, it remains a mysterious ritual. In an excellent game played in a competitive manner, both sides played open and exciting football. Celtic supporters saw something of the explosive pace of new £2.2 million signing Andreas Thome, whose darting run into the box won Celtic a penalty. The stadium erupted as John Collins stepped forward to score the first goal in Celtic's new home.
And it was remarkable how quickly we'd been from Hampden, where we never really got the atmosphere that we know and love among the Celtic supporters. We never got that at Hampden, but I felt within 10 minutes of getting out, 10 seconds of getting out for the Newcastle game, there was a unique atmosphere here which has been perpetuated as each game has went by. The supporters are there, we met a fantastic noise, fantastic support, and the old passion is back there, and I think that's a great help to our players as well.
The final score was 1-1, with Les Ferdinand grabbing an equaliser in the second half, but it had been a gala day for everyone present. The final match in the pre-season preparations was against Peter Beardsley's old club Liverpool, and it saw the debut of another new signing, John Hughes, who had just arrived in a dream move from Falkirk. Both teams played their own brand of passing football, with the game ending in a goalless draw. Staying with Liverpool, we look back now to a memorable encounter against the Merseysiders in 1966 in the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup, which Celtic had reached for a second time. The first leg was played at Parkhead in front of 80,000 supporters.
And there's a goal! Goal by Lennox. Inside forward Lennox, after 7 minutes of the second half, has made it Celtic 1, Liverpool 0.
I think the goal I did score that we didn't get was probably the most vital goal, the goal at Liverpool. We've scored up here, we won 1-0, went down there, really hard game at Liverpool.
Callaghan. After strong the goal.
With Celtic 2 goals down, Bobby Lennox scored in the dying minutes, only to have the goal disallowed.
Boy Murdoch played a ball for the back, and I was this side of Joe McBride, and Joe flicked it on past him, past the centre half, round the goalkeeper, put it in the net. It was a full back sliding across, and the referee chalked it off. But I thought it was a really vital goal that we never got. That always rankles with me. We'd have been European Cup final the year before, we actually got to the European Cup final.
L is also for Lennox, an all-time Celtic great whose playing career spanned almost 20 years in the green and white jersey. His outstanding asset was a blistering turn of pace which left defences floundering.
It's a goal by Lennox. Number 2 for Celtic, Lennox the scorer.
Linking up with the likes of Bobby and Bertie, who were as quick as I thought, as much as I knew when they were going to put the ball before they put it there, and it always gave me that yard a start, and I felt if I got a yard I'd always get there first.
Gallagher, and it's a goal by Lennox. And it's Lennox who's always there when he's needed.
It's all about scoring goals, you know. A lot of people like to stop goals nowadays. We like to go and score as many as we could, you know. And we were fortunate with good goal scorers, we said earlier, with Joe and Wispy and Dixie and Stevie and Big Yogi. We had a lot of guys that could score goals. We're just fortunate with it at the same time.
Bobby's natural fitness and genuine enthusiasm was matched by an ability to strike with power and accuracy. This goal secured the League Cup for Celtic against Rangers in 1966. It was typical of his knack for scoring vital goals.
Played Morton here one season to win the league, and we're drawing one each late on in the game. And we knew from the crowd the Rangers had won at Kilmarnock, and the ball came in from the right, and Wispy went to go and missed it, and it broke to me just yards out, and I managed to just prod it over the line. It wasn't a great goal, but it was a vital goal.
The epitome of the modern striker, Bobby holds the post-war goal-scoring record for Celtic. Only the great Jimmy McGrory has scored more goals for the club.
There's Lennox. The goal by Lennox, right out of the blue. Celtic 3, Rangers 1, practically on the final whistle.
Lennox is onside.
Johnson with it, is a good one. Lennox to score. Brilliant piece of play by two very good friends, of course, Lennox and Johnson. Lennox getting the credit as a goal scorer. Here's all. There's a beautiful pass to Lennox. He must score. He has. And a great goal. Lennox finishing it off.
Cheerful and exuberant, Lemon, as he was known to his teammates, shared a special understanding with Jinky on the park and a lasting friendship off it.
We played St Johnson one day, and he went by the full-back and he smacked him and he cut him, and he went by the next guy and the guy's whacked him in the leg and he's went down. He's got at the goal and he's stumbled around the goalie and fell and I put the ball in the net, and I'm over to the jungle and he's getting carried off, you know. He keeps talking about that great goal that I scored, you know.
Forward to Lennox and McBride teaming up. Lennox changing feet well. It's gone!
Oh, glorious goal! Oh, Lennox, what a goal!
80,000 on the ground, it was a really big game, and Billy scored early on for us, and then I scored just after that. I went through inside great position, turned out my left foot and hit it. One of the few close outside the box.
Gallagher through the middle, and this is danger again. Lennox is there. Goal! Lennox getting a chance, he gets a shot, did it go? Goal!
Carey getting his head to that one, giving it to Lennox.
when Danny and Kenny and that came through, they were always great players. Davy, George. I mean, they were great players coming through as well. And I was fortunate. I played with a great team. Then I played with a really good team after that as well. I mean, I didn't play with bad players.
Jackson going again with Wallace, gets above him. Hood laying it on for Lennox. Lennox scores a brilliant goal by Celtic. Lennox scores the goal laid on Low and hard across goal. Lennox, it's there. Lennox the scorer. Hook to Lennox on the goal. That's a bad one. Lennox again, facing McAlpine. Lennox! What a brilliant goal by Bobby Lennox! And Motherwell causing all sorts of problems for themselves. Number 4 knocked home by Bobby Lennox in 39 minutes.
Oh, it's meant the world to me. I've played with the club I supported when I was a wee boy, and we're really successful. And I mean, the success we had was tremendous. It's really been great, and it's been my whole life.
In an outstanding career, Bobby Lennox scored a total of 273 goals. He remains a popular and enduring Celtic legend. Still to come, the famous 1979 league clincher against Rangers, Jimmy Johnston's finest hour in Europe, memorable testimonial matches, and more goals and action. Now for a look at a current Celtic great. Take it away, Maestro.
Always supported Celtic. You could say it's the way that my father brought the threes up, myself, Willie and Raymond, and first of all we wanted us involved in football, and then I think once that happened we started going to all the Celtic games, and really just week in, week out, home and away, we're always there. Celtic fans like to see good football, attacking football usually. The Celtic sides always go out to win games, give 100%, but they know that they want to entertain the fans as well. I don't think the fans will stand for any back to front stuff, and that's the way I was brought up, watching Celtic sides like that. That's the way I want to play my football. I'm just glad that Celtic like to play their football like that.
First of all, he possesses a good enthusiasm for the game. He's got a great appetite to be involved. He wants to be involved in everything. Never shuts out in anything. Good passing ability. He leads by example.
1-0. Chip must come, there it is, delicately. McStay and a great save. No, it's gone in. McStay, brilliant goal. Loose with the layoff to Paul McStay. And a great goal from McStay. Possession, here's Paul McStay. From McKinnon.
He's one of the few players that can orchestrate a game. He plays the game when he's at his best. He plays the game with a great passion. But he's always managed to maintain his own standards. which have been very high, and if we said poor seasons recently, then I would think that down to the fact that they set such a high standard for himself through many years as a Celtic first team player.
Celtic's 2-0 victory over Rangers in August 1994 was notable not only for magnificent goals from McStay and Collins, it was also the first league game in which Celtic wore numbers on the back of their jerseys. However, Rangers were only too aware of the capabilities of Celtic's number 11. The infamous lockout game at Ibrox in April 1994 was memorable for another strike from the Predator in front of 45,000 stunned Rangers fans.
Celtic could really silence this huge crowd here. It's Collins! It's a magnificent goal by John Collins!
Earlier in that same season, Collins had netted another Old Firm goal, interestingly giving 3 different Rangers goalkeepers nightmares within the space of a year.
Chance on here for Collins, he must score! And John Collins puts Celtic right back into the game. This will be a testing moment for Ali Maxwell. It's the in-swinger, he's under pressure and Celtic have scored!
Perhaps the most memorable Celtic victory of recent years was their St Patrick's Day triumph in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. In an often ill-tempered affair, Celtic emerged with credit for retaining their composure.
Coyne got a touch, there's Craney! Celtic are ahead! It's Jerry Craney! It's a dub check with the free kick. That's well struck and deflected! 2-0 to Celtic! Daniel Dubček takes the credit!
Still to come, Celtic legend Willie Wallace and Tommy Burns on the current Celtic. First, the story of one of the club's finest European performances. Fear of flying is a common phobia which can affect anyone who's experienced the terror of a near disaster. For a modern footballer, it can be a severe handicap.
I think everybody has a sort of a fear. I think everybody's got a slight percentage of fear of flying, and I think I've got more than a percent. I think before I go to an away game, I like to go to the continent, maybe at night. I don't go to sleep for hours and then just actually think about the actual flight and what things that could happen in that.
Jimmy Johnston's fear of flying would prove to be crucial in 1968 when Celtic faced the Yugoslav champions in the second round of the European Cup. The performance of Jinky that night was outstanding, a breathtaking individual display inspired by the cunning of Jock Stein.
When Big Jock says at half time, he says if we win by 4 goals or more, he says you don't have to come to the return match. So he kind of says, you joking? He says, no, I promise you.
It was typical of Stein, who intuitively knew how to get the best performance out of his players and found original ways of motivating them. Unfortunately, all that remains of that game are these flickering images recorded by an amateur cameraman from a TV set after the game. Nonetheless, it gives us a rare, if somewhat unclear, record of that magnificent performance. Bobby Murdoch opened the scoring and it was level at half-time. Jinky, thinking about Stein's half-time talk, ran riot, scoring the second goal to put Celtic in front. For the next, he threaded the ball through to Bobby Lennox, who scored with ease. Johnston tormented the Slav defence and set up the fourth goal for Wallace with a header into his path. But the best was saved for last with a fine move from deep within Celtic's own half. Jinky left two defenders for dead to score spectacularly for the final goal, setting the seal on a wonderful display of open attacking football.
I scored the fifth one. I was running back and the boys were running about me and I'm shouting, I don't need to go, I don't need to go. And they're wondering what was up with this. But they found out later. But the big man in his way, he still, the following day came to me and he says, look, you've got to go to, she was always thinking, you know, but he says, you need to go to Red Star Belgrade. He says, where's? He says, the coach says that you've got to go and let the people see you, the people of Belgrade, you know, so he was trying to pull a stroke again.
1995 saw the 10th anniversary of Jock Stein's death. Under his colossal influence, Celtic achieved undreamt of success. He was undoubtedly one of the greatest managers the game has ever known.
He knows his football game. Without a doubt he has the brains. He brought old Celtic fame. Big Jock, manager of Celtic.
I started out just a part-time player playing in Fairman and I was a minor, so my sights couldn't be too high. I had to be really humble for anything that came out of anything at that particular time.
I think you're just about the last man looking at you superficially that many people would see as a master of the set of sophisticated techniques that you employ. You're part coach, part psychologist, part organiser. But this does seem to be all in the makeup of your job, isn't it?
You've got a wee bit of all the things that you say, but nowadays there are too many gimmicks and too many words used about people. I think we've just got to have common sense. It's as simple as that.
He applied the same logic to his footballing philosophy.
The only thing I'm looking for is playing the game of football the way that people want to see it. Less defensive attitudes and going forward. We go forward. We've always gone forward. I'd like to see more teams doing that. I'd like to see more positive play on the field. As simple as that.
It was the triumphant lifting of the European Cup in 1967, a prize which had eluded the most powerful British clubs, that set Stein apart from all others. The fact that he sustained the success he brought to Celtic, winning 10 championships and countless other honours, served to emphasise the immense talents of the big man.
All I try to do is to try and work for the players, because after all the players work for me when they're on the field. I do my best for them off the field. I expect the same from them on the field. I don't treat them just like players. I like to think that I'm part of them and they're part of the club that they play for. Probably this is the return I get.
I mean, he's unafraid of anything. Yeah. And this is what you've got to be. He's got courage. And if you've got ability and you've got courage and you've got know-how, then that's the recipe. Stein's a remarkable man. Yeah. But everything seems to be natural to him. He seems to do the right things at the right time. And whilst he can tear a strip of you and all, and people think he's maybe lost his head, within that, he hasn't. He knows what he's saying. Yeah. A real remarkable man, yeah. One of the most remarkable men that's ever been in the game.
Jock Stein stepped aside as Celtic manager in 1978. In August of that year, his testimonial match was played at Parkhead in front of 63,000 supporters. It was the end of an era. Celtic supporters are renowned for turning out in large numbers for testimonial matches, a fact that's been taken advantage of by a number of English players who've invited Celtic to play. At Parkhead, testimonial matches for Billy McNeill, Danny McGrain and Tommy Burns have attracted huge crowds. One of the most memorable was the match for Bobby Lennox and Jimmy Johnston.
Well, that was another poor and wet day, you know, and went into town, Jimmy and I, for a meal just at 5 o'clock, and he was down in the dumps. He's a bit more of a worry than me, you know, and there's nobody there tonight, there's nobody there. I said, but they're coming to see you, and she said, and hopefully I'll get a goal or whatever, you know, and we came here and it was incredible. That was 50,000, I think.
That is one of the nights you talk about games, to be games to remember. I'll never ever forget. And I felt, as you probably know, at the end of the match, I felt what I wanted to do, and I wasn't impulsive. I had made up my mind before the match what I was going to do, and I'd say to Bobby, I wanted a wee special thing, and I tell him, I says, don't mind me, I don't want to upstage you anyway or no, because we were never like that, the whole side. We never thought we were better than another or whatever. We all complimented each other. He says, you're joking, he says, carry on. That's wee Bobby, but he's tremendous, great wee guy. And when the game was finished, I just took my boots off and ran out of the jungle, and I felt it was fitting just to give them something to remember me by, and I threw them in.
Try to explain to people in England, you know, about testimonials and things like that. If a testimonial game at Celtic, the numbers of people that turn up, if you get a testimonial for a guy that's played 10 years with a team in England, you had 2,000 and 3,000 people turn up to watch it. And I didn't understand that when I went down. I thought, that's weird. But what it's not actually, what is weird is what Celtic supporters do, or what Celtic supporters feel about their team.
Davy Provan was honoured in 1987 after his career was cut short by illness.
I think that has to go down as the most emotional night of my life, certainly. I remember driving up to the match, and it was -7 degrees in Glasgow that night, November the 30th, and I remember thinking, are we really struggling to get a decent crowd here? And driving up London Road, and having done it for so many years, you can tell when there's a big crowd on the way to the ground, and I knew there was a big crowd, but I couldn't believe it when I actually ran out the tunnel for the first time that night, that the ground was full. There was 45,000 people there. It made me feel very humble that so many people had bothered to turn out on a very cold evening for me, and even people like Kenny Dalglish, who came up and put on a Celtic jersey for the first time since he had left for Liverpool. So yeah, that was very memorable. Certainly the most emotional night of my life.
Bonner's testimonial match saw Jack Charlton bring a Republic of Ireland 11 to Celtic Park.
To bring an Irish team over here, an Irish international team over here to play my club team, Celtic, who have got tremendous Irish background anyway. It was a special, very, very emotional occasion, and Celtic won the game.
In front of 40,000 supporters, Celtic won 3-2, with Jerry Craney scoring a hat-trick. Undoubtedly the most memorable testimonial match in which Celtic have been involved took place in the Bernabeu Stadium in June 1967 in honour of Alfredo Di Stefano.
That was outstanding. It was the whole occasion, about the whole atmosphere, about 130,000 in the Bernabeu, and you were playing. I mean, that was the side, Real Madrid. I mean, they were a class act.
Johnson back very deep. Real really have no answer when he runs at them. We don't see this too much in European football. Johnson going right. Oh, pass through to Lennox. Lennox shoots and scores. Faint-hearted appeal for offside, but he beat the trap. 1-0.
This was billed as the European Cup final because they'd won European Cup so often, and we Jimmy was just absolutely magnificent that night. I mean, it was a real needle game. Bertie got sent off, and I think it was a man shooting off him, and it was a real needle game. And then we Jimmy did a bit, and I scored the goal, and that pleased me as well. I scored the goal in the Bernabeu, you know. But that was, I think, it was the night we realised, you know, we're the best in Europe now.
Still to come, 4 goals for one player in an amazing European tie, the year Celtic met a cynical Atletico Madrid and our own Celtic Braveheart. But first, without doubt, the most dramatic game ever played at Celtic Park. Billy McNeill was appointed manager in 1978 to the acclaim of supporters. On his return, however, he found a side which had lost something in terms of pride and confidence. Despite that early victory over Rangers, they only managed 7 wins in their first 18 matches. The game which would prove crucial was a postponed fixture with Rangers.
At the time I was annoyed that the game went off because they'd had a European match in midweek, and I felt that we had just a slight bit of advantage there, but they called it off, and I think it worked against them because lo and behold they had a little bit of a fixture pile up at the end of the season. But we got the team started to play and started to respond and started to work very well.
Bobby Lennox returned from US Soccer, Murdo MacLeod was drafted in from Dumbarton, and Davy Provan arrived from Kilmarnock. As Christmas approached, a severe winter meant no games were played until the following March.
You know, that second half of the season was excellent for us, and I could see us just picking up the wee point, and we just get closer and closer to them. And then lo and behold, they needed a draw here to win the league, and obviously we needed a victory to do likewise.
It was such a big moment for players like myself and Murdo MacLeod, who had come from smaller clubs and found ourselves prior to that game on the brink of winning a Premier Division medal, winners' medal. The game itself was just the most remarkable emotional roller coaster of my playing career.
Due to a technician's dispute, that dramatic encounter was unfortunately never recorded. Thankfully, an amateur cameraman filmed the game, and this rare black and white footage is all that now exists of that historic game.
We lost a very early goal to Alex McDonald after, I think, 10 minutes. And I remember going in at half-time, and normally if you're one down in an Old Firm game, Billy McNeil would be trying to motivate us, if I could put it very politely, but he'd be reading the riot act and trying to lift us, and he spent the whole of that half-time that night trying to calm us down. There was so much adrenaline going, there was so much spirit in that team, that we couldn't wait to get back out and get started again. Unfortunately, shortly after the second half began, we lost John Doyle, who was sent off. So there we were with only 35 minutes to play, one down, only 10 men, playing for the championship.
Everybody thought, well, that was our chance out the window. But we fought back, we battled back as we did often in these days with 10 men.
It was the spirit of the lads, and I remember Davy Provan that night. We went down to 10 men, and I remember Davy Provan, who just seemed to cover every, like the rest of the lads, covered every blade of glass in the place. And I remember chasing through. He ended up chasing an attacker through and getting a good tackle in, and I said to myself, God almighty, Davy, how does he manage that? It was the spirit, the appetite, and I think the fans as well.
Roy Aitken got us an equaliser in, I think, 66 minutes. George McCluskey put us ahead 8 minutes later. And at that stage we thought we had done it, we had won the championship. But the script wasn't complete, because almost immediately Rangers forced a corner. The ball broke to Bobby Russell on the edge of the box, and although we had everybody back in the box, somehow we managed to thread it in at Peter Latchford's right hand post. So we were back to square one, 2-2 with about 13 minutes to go.
We never thought at any time we were going to lose a game, but we just kept on going forward, pushing it in. Colin Jackson scored an own goal. And we kept on pushing for it. It wasn't one we were going to sit in and hope the game was going to finish at 3-2.
And in the dying seconds of the game, Murdo MacLeod, I remember picking the ball up round about the halfway line, running forward with it. And we knew there wasn't long to go. I was on his left-hand side, and I was screaming at Murdo to give me the ball, and I could take it into the corner and waste a few precious moments. The ball never arrived because Murdo smashed the ball into the top corner from 25 yards. And we knew at that stage that we'd won the championship. And it was just a remarkable night.
Celtic had won their 31st championship in the most dramatic fashion, beating a Rangers side which had been on course for a treble. A crowd of over 50,000 ecstatic supporters celebrated what was a famous victory and a major achievement.
Even when we were done, everyone kind of thought we were going to do it, there was a real hope about it all, and down to 10 men still thought, we can still do this. But when it actually happened, we ended up dancing about and hugging people we didn't know. It was quite incredible.
Celtic often held the wee fairy tale results. I think that was one of them. But it was a marvellous achievement, but that particular night was just absolutely tremendous.
I always remember the late Desmond White in the dressing room after the game saying that it was the club's finest hour since Lisbon, and I think that's as high a compliment as he could have paid that team. And the dressing room afterwards, I remember Jimmy Johnson and Bobby Murdoch and a lot of the older Celtic players who had been there that evening being in the dressing room, and it was just a real Celtic celebration and just a wonderful night.
I mean, as much as the game, which was as close to a religious experience you can get with football, I can remember walking out after the game and everyone was funneled down towards Belgrove Station. I was looking for the train station, I went towards Belgrove Station. You had no choice. The flow of people that night, there just seemed to be hundreds of thousands there, and the singing kept all the way to the station. I mean, it's a good few miles that walk, you know, and the whole way there, and then we got on the train, and everybody was still singing on the train, you know, and I'd never known a Celtic match at all. I'd never known a football match like that where the singing kept on going for an hour and a half after the game. People just walking along the road, you know. Fantastic night, it was unbelievable.
Still to come, Tommy Burns on the future of Celtic and more European action. First, we look at another great Scottish hero, William Wallace. Celtic's own Braveheart joined the club in December 1966 and would play a crucial part in their finest season ever.
There's Wallace. A brilliant goal. Wallace jumping at his goal.
As a prolific goalscorer for Hearts, Celtic had already been made aware of his talent. Jock Stein had beaten Rangers to sign the lifelong Gers fan. With a subsequent injury to top scorer Joe McBride, it would prove to be a fortuitous piece of business. He'll be remembered in particular for 2 goals which helped Celtic to their first ever European final. Within a month of the Dukla Prague game, Wispy, as he was known to his teammates, scored another 2 goals to beat Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final. Only 10 days previously, he'd appeared for Scotland in a famous victory over World Cup holders England. The following month would see him in Lisbon. Hard-working, brave and skillful, Wallace was a committed and prolific scorer with 135 goals in his 5 years with the club.
Wallace! There's a goal! Possible angle!
And now a performance that's remembered as one of the most disgraceful in the annals of European competition, when a cynical Atletico Madrid visited Celtic Park.
Diaz tries to drop down. And that's Venegas, number 4.
Atletico hacked and tried to intimidate the Celtic players, who emerged with credit for not retaliating to such provocation. Jimmy Johnston was the main target for a barrage of assaults, which made it impossible to play football.
And he is off the field. Ayala was off. And Diaz is in trouble. And Diaz is off. Players off in 2 minutes. Logan to Johnston, and that's it, it's all over. And look at the Atletico players, absolutely jubilant, but they win no medals for sportsmanship here at Parkhead tonight. They think they've won the tie. 9 players booked in the Atletico side, 3 ordered off. There's real trouble there on the far side. Atletico want to have a go.
UEFA fined Atletico and banned 6 players from the return leg, prior to which Jimmy Johnston had received a death threat. Celtic lost the game to 2 late goals, but emerged with credit for keeping their cool. Now one of the most dramatic European ties of all time, Celtic returned from Yugoslavia after a 2-1 defeat at the hands of a Partizan Belgrade team which included Goran Petric and was managed by Ivan Golac.
The lead in the away leg and a 3-1 advantage on the tie altogether. McStay looking for Elliott, found him and a good flick on, and Jakanowski gets the goal. The Pole scores against the Yugoslavs and the Scots go mad. Walker, Grant, it's gone loose and it's gone in. The Pole has done it again. Jurovski setting up the chance, which is taken, and no wonder there's a cartwheel from Djordjevic. Galloway, Elliott didn't fall too kindly. Galloway goes back inside, tries to set up Aitken and has done so, and here's the chance. Oh, and what a rifling shot by Jakanowski. Milojevic through the middle and the offside trap is beaten. Jurovski scores. He's away this time, the Pole, and it's gone in for Walker. This is unbelievable stuff. Petric looking to set up an attack immediately. This is Galloway. Spasic, Jurovski, and it's in! It's in!
Partizan's goal in the last minute meant that despite scoring 5 times in the tie, Celtic went out on away goals. Jackie's 4 goals, the best ever from a Celtic player in Europe. In 1965, Celtic's new young manager, an ex-player, led the club to Scottish Cup success after a long barren spell. Only 2 years later, Celtic won every trophy for which they competed and added the European Cup to a magnificent trophy collection. Successive Celtic sides under Jock Stein dominated the Scottish game. His achievements will probably never be equalled. His influence was immeasurable.
When I came here as a 15-year-old into the ground staff, his very presence would make people stand up and take notice. He'd done everything. He'd won umpteen league championships in a row. He'd won Scottish Cups, League Cups, European Cup, getting to the final European Cup yet again. So he'd done unbelievable things, and I think once you've achieved that type of reward and accolades, if you like, then I think everybody sits up and takes notice of you, and then they realise that you're something special. He was something very, very special to this club, and whatever he said went, for first team, reserve team, youth team, anywhere. I think we got to the stage where he could have told you to do anything, you would just have done it because he said to do it, and that was the time. You wouldn't have thought anything of it. That was it. Mr. Stein said that you do it, and that was the way it was then. But it's certainly a remarkable man.
Stein was succeeded by his former team captain Billy McNeill, who achieved success in both spells as manager. When he left in '91, Liam Brady was appointed boss. The former Irish international failed to find success. Lou Macari was appointed manager by a board struggling to retain control. His time was short-lived, and Tommy Burns took charge in July 1994. He was under no illusions about the enormity of the task with which he'd been charged.
But we knew it would be a long, hard task to try and put Celtic Football Club right. And we look back at the condition and the state the club was in when we took over. And we're ready to do that. But it has to be done gradually. There's no magic wand. Basically we came into the club and we're under extreme pressure. I don't think there's any getting away from that, as much as we try to look at it pragmatically and every otherwise, to win something very, very quickly. Otherwise we would have probably went the same road as the previous people that were here.
Tommy's first season in charge began unconvincingly with a draw at Falkirk. An extended unbeaten run included victories over Rangers and Motherwell, with new signing Phil O'Donnell making an immediate impact.
O'Donnell's through. This is Grant. Laid off by Collins to Nicholas. Good play. Peter Grant gets a touch as Collins. It's a magnificent goal.
As October came, however, Celtic failed to carve out the victories necessary to mount a sustained challenge.
In the clear here though, challenge for Celtic. Superbly finished by Andy Walker.
Celtic's goals began to dry up and their 11-game unbeaten run ended with defeats by Hearts, Falkirk and Rangers, which seriously dented their hopes. 6 consecutive draws and 11 games without a win, the worst run in the club's history, effectively ended Celtic's bid to claim the league flag before Christmas.
The biggest disappointment to us last year was our inconsistency in the league. We want to go and be competitive over the 36 league games and do our best, and I think that's where you see the real metal of a team. And once we do that, then it's another stage further, because in the last 5-6 years we haven't been competitive in the league, and we've lost it well in January. And now we want to go and, as I say, take it right to the end. And that's all we can hope for, is that we can go and compete right to the death. And I don't think there's anything written in stone that says we're going to suddenly turn Celtic Football Club into a team that wins every game, every week, every season. It's going to be done slowly, and we get our setbacks, we get our defeats and disappointments. That is part of football, but ultimately we get to where we want to be.
After the catastrophe that was the Coca-Cola Cup final, Burns was prompted to make changes and blood some of the promising youngsters in the squad.
Chinking and turning and looking for an opening inside the area. Targeted by Fullerton, reaches Boyd. Ball played across and a superb header there by Willie Faulkner.
It was in the Scottish Cup that Celtic played their best football, and the same competition would make an instant hero of Dutch signing Pierre van Hooijdonk. Signed from Breda in January, the 6'5" Dutchman scored spectacularly on his debut against Hearts and netted twice against Meadowbank Thistle in the Cup.
Out comes the Collins. Delightful finish from Collins. Measured into the corner.
After disposing of Kilmarnock, Celtic defeated Hibs in a semi-final replay to set up a cup final clash with First Division Airdrie.
That's for Van Hooijdonk. Great header, and Celtic are ahead. Pierre Van Hooijdonk scores his 8th goal in Celtic colours and sets the cup final alight.
Van Hooijdonk wasn't the only hero that day. Peter Grant, an injury doubt prior to the game, had an outstanding 90 minutes.
It was tremendous to come for a winner's medal again, and I think that was the biggest thing. People talk about the man of the match. Yes, it was smashing as a personal thing, but the most important thing was that we won the cup again. To see the look on the people's faces in the terrace, and to see the sheer relief in their faces, was something that will live with me for the rest of my days, no matter how much I achieve in the game from now till I finish playing. But that's one day I'll always stick in my mind.
The streets were mobbed as Celtic, after so many years in the wilderness, brought the Scottish Cup home to rest in paradise.
And I feel that again, having a positive outlook is regarding the future of Celtic Football Club. The history and the tradition is something that we will never lose, but we've got to go and make more memorable nights, win more trophies, and have more memorable European runs, and get modern tradition, if you like, as opposed to living off of what had went before.
The process of restoring Celtic's fortunes will not be achieved overnight, but with the progress that's been made since Fergus McCann took control of the club, supporters are more optimistic about the prospect of a sustained challenge to Rangers' domination. The return of European football to Parkhead has also been encouraging. Convincing victories home and away against Dinamo Batumi set up a difficult second-round tie with Paris Saint-Germain. A sellout crowd watched as the game was beamed live to Celtic Park.
I think we should always look on our club as unique and different for everybody else, because it is different for everybody else. Support are different, entirely, are unique, the football club's unique. Ultimately we'll never die by the result on a Saturday, but I would prefer that my time here is spent for the good of Celtic Football Club long term as opposed to myself as an individual. My message to the supporters will always be the same, that we love you dearly and we'll look after your football club for you.
Thank you for your support, to tell you how much we love you, and you'll never walk alone. God bless you, Celtic.
I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good. I knew that I would. So good, so good. I got you. I feel nice. I should have inspired. I feel nice. I should have inspired. So nice, so nice. I got you. When I hold you in my arms, I know that I can't do no wrong. And when I hold you in my arms, my love can't do me no harm. And I feel nice. I should have inspired. I feel nice. I should have inspired. So nice, so nice. I got you. Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would.